I feel a little bit awkward sort of taking credit for, I mean, there have been so many alcoholics who played alcoholics in the history of the movie business. And I knew that, in this day and age of sort of like celebrities' personal lives becoming news stories, those are questions that I was going to have to kind of answer anyway. So what was interesting for me was to be able to define the story myself the way I see it, which is really one of hope.
I heard you're coaching basketball.
Yeah, keeps me busy, keeps my mind off other things,
What was it like working with these guys, Ben?
I loved it. I really loved it. They reminded me why I got into this in the first place, because they showed up every day, they worked hard, they had to work on the basketball, there was some serious acting work they had to do, and they did it without complaint, they did it with joy, they did it with discipline, and I thought like, wow, this is the reason I do this. It's very easy to get distracted by all kinds of stuff, what they say on Entertainment Tonight, that kind of thing.
Wait, us?
But it's, you're very lucky if you get a chance to do this for a living. So I felt very blessed. And I got to make friends with these guys, which was really nice. They put me on the group chat, which I feel is a sign of trust.
Oh, yeah.
He put us on a private jet.
Yeah,
That's the least we could do.
Yeah.
He put you on a private jet?
Multiple times.
Okay. Now, in exchange, did you guys teach Ben some of your dance moves?
No.
What? Are you?
That might be outside my
Imagine
lane.
I
Ben
was
Affleck
waiting
hitting
for
the
it.
wall.
Imagine me doing the wall.
Has Ben taught you guys anything about, given you advice, I should say, about being in the biz?
Yeah, every day I would come to set with with flashcards and questions like mentally, and I'd be preparing. You know how when you meet a girl, you got all these questions you want to ask, and you just want to find a way to slide in. It was like that with Ben. It's kind of weird. It's like a bro crush. I'm like, yo, so
He
how does
just
this
compared
happen?
you to a DM, Ben.
It
wasn't a
slide in
DM.
his
It
DMs
was
all the
like
time. He never answers.
It was like an icebreaker type thing. Like when you first meet a girl, you're trying to be
Well,
cool and calm.
I love the, you never forget as an actor that those years that you spend auditioning, preparing things, going in, hearing weird feedback and not understanding why didn't I get cast and what did they want, and it's very frustrating, it's very difficult, it's very competitive, and there's something really inspiring about these young men who are trying to do that, and it reminded me of that time in my life. And I think as an actor, you always sort of think of yourself that way, as like, gotta get the next job, gotta get, I hope people like it. You're always sort of at the mercy of the critic in some way. And so it was fun hearing about like what kind of stuff they were up for, enjoying their successes, seeing them get other parts. That was very cool.
You guys brought so much emotion and heart to the film, but I think a lot of people were doing that for you too, Ben, because I would say it was bold taking on a project that your character has struggles with issues that you deal with personally. So was that something that influenced you in taking on this role?
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting question because I feel a little bit awkward sort of taking credit for, I mean, there have been so many alcoholics who played alcoholics in the history of the movie business, many of whom are quite public about it, and talked about it, Robert Downey or Bradley or whoever it is. And I knew that, in this day and age of sort of like celebrities' personal lives becoming news stories, those are questions that I was going to have to kind of answer anyway. So what was interesting for me was to be able to define the story myself the way I see it, which is really one of hope. I know, I have a lot of friends who have dealt with various issues like this, compulsive behavior, addictive behavior, and the vast majority of them are really good, honest, accountable people living good, healthy lives. And the idea that life gets better, that you can get better, that you can overcome your obstacles is a really important one to me. And that's the approach that I liked about this movie. It wasn't just, well, there's alcoholism, and that's kind of ordinary.
No, true. But Gavin told us, he said that you both had seen the script and you came to him and said, I want to play the lead and I want you to direct.
That's absolutely true.
So what was it about the script that was speaking to you, and you thought, this isn't too soon, too close to home?
No, I didn't think that at all. I thought that was an advantage. I thought like, okay, I really feeling like a full range of kind of access to my emotions. I'm feeling really ready to do a heavy performance-based piece. And I knew that Gavin was both a really good director for actors and also has done sports really realistically with Miracle and Warrior.
Right.
So he was kind of the perfect choice for this, and I was thrilled when he said yes.
Yeah. You've called working on this film therapeutic. How so?
Well, I think that there is a certain amount of therapy that comes along with like emotional honesty. You know, I remember Melvin's first day when he showed up and he had to show some real vulnerability and some humility. And as men, as young men, we're not necessarily encouraged or taught to show that kind of thing. And he did it with bravery and with excellence. And you know, to me, that really set the tone for like, okay, we're going to play this real. You know, we're going to be honest about this story, and we're going to show, and we're going to be vulnerable. And I think you have to be vulnerable to a certain extent to generate empathy in the audience. If you hold too much back, if you hide everything, if you kind of withhold that stuff, you won't move an audience. They won't care.
Yeah.
And that's sort of the whole point of making the movie, is bringing an audience in and generating compassion and enthusiasm and care for these characters.
You felt the authenticity from start to finish.
Thank you very much.
And what about the script appealed to the two of you? What spoke to you?
Yeah, the script, you know, like I'll tell them when they first sent it to me, I kind of tried to like tell the story before I even read it, try to predict things, and as soon as I opened it, and every single page that I turned to was just like, okay, you know, this is the typical sports movie moment, this is gonna happen, and then you turn the next page, it's like, wow, this went a completely different route. You know, not everybody's gonna have the game-winning shot and everything's gonna be all nice and dandy. It really has some real life elements to it.
Right, it wasn't entirely predictable.
Right, yeah,
You know,
which makes it so
really
great.
nice. Exactly.
Yeah, it's subverted. When the writer wrote me a letter, when he first sent me the script, it didn't say like, well, I think there are things that you would understand about this movie. What he was really interested in was like the ways in which it kind of subverted the genre and did things you didn't expect and surprised the audience. And I think that's really, really important in filmmaking. If an audience can more or less predict what's gonna happen, anticipate sort of the outcome, it's just a little more boring, you know? It doesn't mean you can't enjoy that movie, but you know, we want to do things that were unusually realistic and kind of take the audience off guard.
Well, something else audiences are looking forward to, the last duel you're teaming up with your boy, Matt Damon again. What are you looking forward to about that? I know, right?
I'm very excited. Matt started shooting this week. I'm going on Saturday or Sunday, I guess, to France. I'm a little nervous because I've never done a medieval. It's 1386, so it's like armor and swords and stuff like that. But you know, it was a real pleasure working with Matt and Nicole Olive Center, who wrote the script with us. And you know, I thought, we kept on saying, why haven't we done this, you know, more often? We just got lucky and our schedules kind of intersected so that we had some free time to share. And we got Ridley Scott directing it, and Jodie Comer's in the movie. It's very exciting.
You said in 5 years you would like to see yourself in a loving relationship, a stable, healthy relationship.
Yeah.
What do you feel are important qualities for you to have?
I don't know. I think trust and care and mutual respect and, you know, all the sort of usual stuff. But I think that's a big part of what makes life satisfying and interesting, you know. So obviously, like everybody, it's something that I'm interested in. And, you know, it sort of happens when it happens, though. You know, it's not the kind of thing you can force.